The air inside the cave tasted like metal and dust. Minji held her scanner close to her face, watching the small screen glow in the darkness. The numbers on the screen jumped and changed as she walked deeper into the crystal caverns of Thuro 7. Her boots made soft crunching sounds on the rocky floor. Each step sent tiny echoes bouncing off the walls. "Minji, how far in are you going?" Hyunwoo's voice crackled through her helmet speaker. He sounded worried. He always sounded worried when team members went exploring alone. "Just another 100 meters, Minji replied. She adjusted the light on her helmet. The beam cut through the darkness and made the crystal formation sparkle like frozen stars. "The mineral readings are getting stronger here. I think we found something good." Thuro 7 was supposed to be an empty planet. The survey team had landed 3 days ago, expecting to find nothing but rocks and dust. But the scans from orbit showed something unusual deep underground. Strange energy signatures that did not match any known natural formation. The company wanted answers before they decided whether to mine the planet or leave it alone. Minji was the youngest member of the team. She had joined the Colonial Survey Corps only 2 years ago, fresh out of university with big dreams of discovering new worlds. Most days, the job meant collecting rock samples and checking air quality. Nothing exciting, nothing dangerous, just routine work on dead planets that all looked the same. But today felt different. The cavern opened up ahead of her. Minji's light could not reach the far walls anymore. She was standing at the entrance of something massive. The ceiling stretched high above her head, covered in crystals that grew in strange spiral patterns. Some of the crystals were taller than buildings. They glowed with a faint blue light that seemed to pulse like a heartbeat. "Hyunwoo, you need to see this," Minji whispered into her communicator. "The cavern is huge. The crystals they're alive somehow." "I've never seen anything like this," Static answered her. Then Hyunwoo's voice came back, broken and unclear. "Signal weak." "Come back," Minji frowned. "The crystal formations must be blocking the communication signal. She should turn back." That was the safe choice. That was what the training manual said to do when signals got weak. But the scanner in her hand was going crazy with readings. Something important was in this cavern. Something that could make this boring survey mission actually matter. She took another step forward, then another. The blue glow from the crystals grew brighter as she walked. It was beautiful in a strange alien way. Minji had seen hundreds of caves on dozens of planets, but none of them felt like this. This place felt old, ancient. Like she was walking into a cathedral built by something that existed before humans even learned to make fire. That was when she heard the sound. It was soft at first. A rasping, scraping noise that could have been wind moving through cracks in the rock. But there was no wind this deep underground. Minji froze. Her heart started beating faster. She put her hand on the small plasma pistol attached to her belt. The weapon felt tiny and useless in her grip. The sound came again. Louder this time. It sounded like something breathing, something big. "Hello?" Minji called out. Her voice echoed through the cavern. "Is someone there?" Silence. Then a voice entered her mind. Not through her ears, through her thoughts. It felt like someone was speaking directly into her brain. "Water," the voice whispered. It sounded weak and broken. "Please, water." Minji stumbled backward. She had heard stories about telepathic aliens, but she had never met one. Most intelligent species in the known galaxy communicated through sound or light or chemical signals. Telepathy was rare. "Very rare. Who are you?" Minji asked. She spoke out loud, not knowing if the creature could hear her voice or only her thoughts. "Where are you?" "Here," the voice replied. "I am here. So thirsty. 300 years of thirst, please." Just one drop, but Minji followed the voice. Her helmet light swept across the cavern floor until it landed on something that made her gasp. At first, she thought it was just another rock formation. A large pile of gray stone covered in dust and debris. But as she got closer, she saw the shape. The massive head. The long neck disappearing under fallen rocks. The folded wings that looked like torn fabric. It was a dragon. Not a dragon from Earth legends or fairy tales. This was something real, something alien, but the shape was close enough that the word dragon was the only thing Minji's mind could use to describe it. The creature was enormous. Even collapsed and broken, it was bigger than the survey ship sitting on the surface above. The dragon's scales were gray and cracked like dried mud. Some of them had fallen off, leaving patches of raw skin beneath. Its eyes were closed. Its massive chest moved up and down with slow, painful breaths. The creature looked like it was dying. Maybe it had been dying for a very long time. "Oh no," Minji whispered. She approached slowly, carefully. "What happened to you?" The dragon's eyes opened. They were yellow, like twin suns, but dim and fading. The creature looked at her with an expression that seemed almost human. Pain, suffering, and something else. Hope. Earthquake. The voice in Minji's mind said, 3 centuries ago. The planet shook. Mountains fell. Water sources dried up. I was trapped here, buried, alone. 300 years? Minji could barely process the number. "You've been here for 300 years? My kind can survive long periods without food," the dragon explained. Its mental voice was getting stronger as they talked. "We can slow our bodies down. Sleep for decades, centuries if needed. But water is different. We need water, not much, just a little. But without it, we suffer. Every moment is pain. Every second is torture. 300 years of wanting nothing but a single drop of water." Minji felt tears forming in her eyes. She could not imagine that kind of suffering. 300 years of being trapped in darkness, unable to move. Dying of thirst but unable to die. It was a nightmare she could not have invented if she tried. "Why didn't anyone help you?" she asked. "Has no one else found this cave?" "Many have come," the dragon said. "Different species. Different ships. They explored these caverns over the centuries. Some saw me. Most thought I was just a rock formation. A few realized what I was, but none of them helped. They were afraid, or they did not care, or they thought I was already dead." The dragon closed its eyes again. A shudder ran through its massive body. "I begged them," it continued. "I begged every one of them, but they left. They always left. And I remained here, counting the seconds, the minutes, the years. Thirst is a special kind of torture. It never stops. It never fades. It only grows stronger." Minji looked down at her suit. On her belt was her water container. Standard issue for survey missions. It held 2 liters of water, carefully rationed for a 3-week expedition. Every team member got the same amount. No more, no less. The calculations were precise. If she used too much water, she would not have enough to survive until the ship left Thuro 7. But this creature had suffered for 3 centuries. 300 years of pain that she could not imagine. 300 years of hoping for rescue that never came. Minji unclipped the water container from her belt. "Wait." Hyunwoo's voice suddenly crackled through her helmet speaker. The signal was weak but clear enough to understand. "Minji, I'm picking up your vital signs. Your heart rate is elevated. What's happening down there?" "I found something," Minji said. She stared at the dragon's gray, cracked scales. "Someone. A survivor. They need water. A survivor? What are you talking about?" "The planet is dead. Nothing lives here." "Something does," Minji replied. "Something has been living here for a very long time. And it needs help." "Don't do anything stupid," Hyunwoo warned. "Unknown alien life forms can be dangerous. You need to come back to the surface. We'll send down a properly equipped team." "There's no time for that," Minji said. She knew Hyunwoo could not see what she was seeing. He could not feel what she was feeling. "This creature is dying. If I leave now, it will die before any team gets here." Minji, she turned off her communicator. She knew that would make Hyunwoo panic. He would probably call Daeho, the team leader. They would probably all come running down into the cavern to stop her from doing something dangerous. But Minji did not care about protocols right now. She did not care about safety regulations or survey team rules. She only cared about the suffering creature in front of her. Minji unsealed her water container. The sound of the seal breaking seemed loud in the quiet cavern. She approached the dragon's massive head slowly. The creature watched her with those dim yellow eyes. There was no threat in that gaze, no anger. Only exhaustion and fading hope. "Here," Minji said softly. "I have water. I'm going to help you." The dragon's eyes widened. For a moment, Minji thought she saw tears forming in those alien eyes. "Why?" the creature asked. Its mental voice trembled with emotion. "Why would you help me? You do not know me. I am not your kind. I am just a monster trapped in a cave." Minji smiled. "You're not a monster. You're someone who needs help. That's all that matters." She tilted the water container and let the liquid pour onto the dragon's cracked, dry tongue. The first drop of water touched the dragon's tongue, and the creature's entire body convulsed. The massive form shook so violently that dust and small rocks fell from the ceiling above. Minji stumbled backward, afraid she had done something wrong. Maybe the dragon was allergic to earth water. Maybe she had just poisoned it instead of helping it. But then she heard the sound. It was not a sound of pain. It was a sob. The dragon was crying. More. The voice in her mind begged. Please, more. Minji stepped forward again and poured another stream of water into the dragon's mouth. She watched as the liquid disappeared into that massive throat. The dragon's scales began to change. The gray, lifeless color started to shift. Tiny hints of purple appeared, then blue, then colors Minji did not have names for. It was like watching a dead plant come back to life after rain. I never thought I would feel this again. The dragon's mental voice grew stronger with each swallow. The sensation of water on my tongue. The feeling of liquid sliding down my throat. For 300 years I dreamed of this moment. I thought it would never come. I thought I would turn to dust before anyone showed mercy. Minji kept pouring until half her water container was empty. 1 liter gone. 1 liter remaining. That was supposed to last her 2 more weeks. But she could not stop now. Not when she could see the life returning to this ancient creature's eyes. The dragon's breathing became easier. The painful wheezing sound faded into something more regular. The creature lifted its head slightly, though its body remained trapped under tons of collapsed rock. Those yellow eyes looked at Minji with an intensity that made her feel small and exposed, like the dragon was seeing past her suit, past her skin, straight into her soul. You are human, the dragon said. It was not a question. I have heard of your kind. Young species. Barely left your home star system before you started exploring. Curious, aggressive, unpredictable. But I did not know humans could be kind. Some of us try to be. Minji replied. She sat down on a rock near the dragon's head. Her legs felt weak from adrenaline. I'm sorry no one helped you before. I'm sorry you suffered for so long. Do not apologize for the actions of others, the dragon said. You are not responsible for what they chose to do. You are only responsible for your own choices, and you chose mercy. That is rare. Rarer than you know. Minji looked at her water container, half empty, or half full depending on how she wanted to think about it. She did some quick math in her head. If she was careful, very careful, she could survive on half rations until the ship left. It would not be comfortable. She would be thirsty all the time. But she would live. What's your name? Minji asked. I'm Minji. I work for the Colonial Survey Corps. We're here to study this planet. I am called Velthor, the dragon replied. Though it has been so long since anyone spoke my name that I almost forgot it myself. I was a guardian once. A keeper of knowledge. That was my purpose before the earthquake. Before everything changed. A guardian of what? Velthor's eyes shifted toward the deeper part of the cavern. Minji followed his gaze but saw only darkness and more crystal formations. Knowledge that your kind is not ready to possess. Knowledge that could help you or destroy you, depending on how it is used. My people placed me here centuries ago to protect it, to keep it safe until a worthy species proved themselves deserving. Minji heard footsteps echoing through the tunnels behind her, multiple sets of boots running on stone. Her team was coming. She stood up and turned to see lights bouncing off the cavern walls. 3 figures emerged from the tunnel entrance. Hyunwoo led the way, his weapon drawn. Behind him came Daeho, the team leader, and Yuna, the medical specialist. Minji, step away from it, Hyunwoo shouted. His voice was sharp with fear and authority. We don't know if it's hostile. He's not hostile, Minji said calmly. She did not move. His name is Velthor. He's been trapped here for 300 years. He was dying of thirst. Daeho approached slowly, his eyes scanning the massive form of the dragon. He was older than the rest of the team, with gray hair and a face marked by decades of survey work on dangerous planets. He had seen strange things before, but even he looked shocked by what he was seeing now. Is he sapient? Daeho asked. Can he communicate? Yes, Minji answered. Telepathically. He can speak directly into your mind if you let him. Yuna moved forward with her medical scanner active. She was always the brave one when it came to examining new life forms. She had studied xenobiology for years before joining the Survey Corps. Her scanner beeped and hummed as she pointed it at Velthor's massive body. The readings are incredible, Yuna whispered. His biology is unlike anything in our database. But he's definitely alive, and he's recovering. His cellular regeneration is accelerating. Whatever Minji gave him is working. I gave him water, Minji said. That's all. Just water. Hyunwoo lowered his weapon but did not put it away. You used your rations. You could have endangered yourself. That violates protocol. Protocol can wait, Deho interrupted. He stared at Velthor with a mixture of wonder and concern. This is first contact with an intelligent alien species. This changes everything. We need to report this immediately. Corporate will want to know. The government will want to know. Everyone will want to know. No. Velthor's voice suddenly filled all their minds at once. All four humans flinched at the sensation. It was like having someone else's thoughts mixed with their own. You will not report this, not yet. Not until I know I can trust you. We helped you, Hyunwoo said defensively. We came down here to rescue Minji, we're not your enemies. One of you helped me, Velthor corrected, his eyes fixed on Minji. One of you showed compassion without being asked, without expecting reward. The rest of you came because you were worried about your teammate, not because you cared about a suffering creature you had never met. There is a difference. The words stung, but they were true. Minji saw her teammates' faces change with guilt and embarrassment. They had not come to rescue Velthor. They had come to rescue her. That's not fair, Yuna said quietly. We didn't know you existed. We didn't know you needed help. You can't blame us for not helping when we weren't aware there was anyone to help. I do not blame you, Velthor replied.
His mental voice softened.
I simply state facts. Ignorance is not cruelty, but awareness is choice. Minji became aware of my suffering and chose to help. That is why she is different. That is why I am speaking to you now instead of remaining silent until you left. Deho sat down on a rock, processing everything. He looked tired suddenly, old. What do you want from us? What happens now? I want to test your species, Velthor said. For centuries I have watched different species come to this planet. Most ignored me. Some tortured me with experiments. A few offered false hope before abandoning me. Humans are the newest species to reach these stars. I want to know what kind of species you truly are. Are you destroyers? Are you builders? Are you capable of growth and change? How do you test that? Minji asked. By watching. By listening. By seeing how you treat not just me but each other. By understanding your motivations. Velthor shifted slightly, though most of his body remained pinned beneath the rock. 3 of you carry weapons, but only one of you reached for water first. What does that say about your species? It says we're cautious, Hyunwoo defended. The galaxy is dangerous. We've lost survey teams to hostile aliens, to environmental hazards, to 100 different threats. We carry weapons because we have to, not because we want to. Fear is understandable, Velthor acknowledged. But fear and compassion can coexist. Minji was afraid. I felt her fear when she first saw me, but she chose compassion anyway. That is what makes the difference. Yuna stepped closer to examine Velthor more carefully. Her scanner continued taking readings. Your body is trapped. We have equipment on the ship. We could dig you out. It would take time, but we could free you. Why would you do that? Velthor asked. Because you're suffering, Yuna replied simply. Because you've been trapped for 300 years and you deserve freedom. Isn't that reason enough? Velthor was silent for a long moment. Minji felt something change in the air. A shift in emotion that seemed to come from the dragon himself. Perhaps your species has more potential than I thought. Deho stood up and brushed dust off his suit. Let's say we help you. Let's say we dig you out and set you free. What then? What do you do? What do we do? This planet will attract more survey teams, more mining corporations, more exploration. Can you really hide here forever? I do not wish to hide, Velthor said. I wish to fulfill my purpose. I am a guardian. I guard knowledge. Knowledge that could change the course of your civilization. But such knowledge cannot be given freely. It must be earned. Earned how? Minji asked. By proving that humanity deserves it, Velthor replied. By showing me that your species values life over profit. That you can look at a suffering creature and see a person, not an opportunity. That you can make sacrifices for others without expecting payment in return. Minji looked down at her water container again, half empty. She thought about the 2 weeks ahead. The thirst she would feel, the discomfort, the risk. She thought about how easy it would have been to walk away, to pretend she never saw Velthor, to let him continue suffering because it was not her problem. Smuggling a 20-meter dragon onto a survey ship turned out to be both easier and harder than expected. The easy part was that Velthor could do something the humans had not anticipated. He could shrink. It is not true shapeshifting, Velthor explained as his body began to compress. It is dimensional folding. My physical form exists partially in your 3 dimensions and partially in others. I can adjust the ratio. Make more of myself exist elsewhere and less exist here. The humans watched in amazement as the massive dragon condensed down to the size of a large dog. He retained all his features, the scales, the wings, the glowing eyes, but everything was proportionally smaller. It was like watching a video play in reverse or reality itself being edited. That's incredible, Yuna breathed. Her scanner was going haywire, trying to record what was happening. You're not actually shrinking. You're redistributing your mass across dimensional spaces. The energy readings are off the scale. My people developed this ability over millions of years, Velthor said. His mental voice remained the same strength despite his reduced size. It allows us to travel through spaces that would otherwise be too small. It also allows us to hide when necessary, a useful skill when you guard valuable secrets. The hard part was explaining to the ship's automated systems why there was an unexpected mass aboard. Every object that came onto the survey ship was logged, weighed, and tracked. Even in his compressed form, Velthor had mass that the sensors would detect. Hyunwoo spent hours reprogramming the cargo manifest, creating false entries for geological samples that did not exist, distributing the extra mass across dozens of fake containers. If anyone audits this data closely, we're done, Hyunwoo muttered as he worked. But most people don't audit survey data unless there's a reason. We just have to make sure we don't give them a reason. They smuggled Velthor aboard in a large equipment case, the kind used for delicate instruments that needed protection during transport. Minji walked beside the case, her heart pounding, expecting alarms to sound at any moment. But the ship's systems accepted Hyunwoo's modifications. The cargo was loaded. The hatches were sealed, and no one suspected anything unusual. The survey ship left Thura 3 days later, right on schedule. Taeho filed his final reports claiming the planet had some mineral deposits worth noting, but nothing that justified immediate mining operations. The company thanked them for their thoroughness and assigned them their next survey location. During the journey, Velthor stayed hidden in Minji's quarters. The rooms aboard survey ships were small but private. Each crew member had their own space, just big enough for a bed, a desk, and some storage. Velthor, in his compressed form, curled up in the corner and watched everything with those glowing yellow eyes. Your ships are primitive, Velthor observed on the 2nd day of travel, but functional. You have discovered the basics of faster-than-light travel. That is impressive for such a young species. How young are we compared to your people? Minji asked. She was supposed to be organizing her rock samples, but instead she was talking to a dragon from an ancient civilization. The absurdity of the situation had not stopped feeling surreal. Humans have been using tools for perhaps 2 million years, radio signals for barely a century, space travel for less than that. My people were already exploring galaxies when your ancestors were learning to control fire. Velthor's tone was not condescending, just factual. But age does not always equal wisdom. My people became stagnant, comfortable. We stopped taking risks, stopped innovating. Perhaps that is the advantage of youth. You still have the courage to try impossible things. Is that why you want to observe us? To see if we have something your people lost? Perhaps, Velthor admitted. Or perhaps I am simply curious. 300 years of isolation gives one time to think, to question, to wonder if the old ways are truly the best ways. You humans are chaotic and unpredictable, but you are also dynamic and adaptable. Watching your species might teach me things I never learned in millions of years of static existence. Minji smiled. You're welcome to watch, but I should warn you, humans can be pretty disappointing sometimes. We're not always at our best. I know, Velthor said. I can access your information networks from here. Your internet, as you call it. I have been reading your history, your news, your entertainment, your debates. I see the full spectrum of humanity. The brilliance and the stupidity, the compassion and the cruelty, the hope and the despair. It is fascinating. Over the next few weeks, the ship made its way toward the nearest colonial station. The journey took time even with FTL drive, and the crew fell into familiar routines. Minji continued her work analyzing samples from various planets they had surveyed. Yuna worked in the medical bay, updating health records. Yunwoo maintained the ship's systems. Daeho managed reports and communications with corporate headquarters, and Velthor watched everything. He watched them eat meals together in the small galley, arguing about sports and politics and meaningless things. He watched them work through problems with equipment failures and supply shortages, He watched them play games during downtime, laugh at stupid jokes, and comfort each other when someone received bad news from home. "You are pack animals," Velthor observed one evening. "Not in the literal sense, but psychologically. You need connection with others of your kind. You suffer when isolated for too long. My people were not like that. We could exist alone for centuries without discomfort, but you humans seem to need each other." "That's probably true," Minji agreed. She was teaching Velthor how to play a card game, though the dragon claimed he could read her mind and know what cards she held. Humans are social creatures. We build communities, form bonds, care about each other, sometimes too much. "There is no such thing as caring too much," Velthor said. "Caring too much is better than caring too little." My people forgot how to care. We became observers instead of participants, guardians instead of creators. Perhaps that is why we faded from the galaxy while younger species like yours continue to expand. The conversation was interrupted by an alarm, not a loud, urgent alarm, just a steady beeping that meant someone was requesting communication. Minji checked her console. It was a priority message from corporate headquarters. "Everyone to the bridge." Deho's voice came through the intercom. "We have a situation." Minji exchanged glances with Velthor. "Stay here. Stay hidden. I'll find out what's happening." The dragon nodded his small head. "Be careful." Minji rushed to the bridge, where she found her 3 teammates already gathered. Deho stood at the main console, his face pale. Hyunwoo looked angry. Yuna looked worried. "What's wrong?" Minji asked. "We're being recalled," Deho said. "Corporate is sending us to a different location." "There's been an incident." Another survey team found something on a planet called Helios 9. Something big. Something that matches the energy signatures we recorded on Thuros 7. Minji's heart sank. "They know." "They don't know about Velthor specifically," Hyunwoo clarified. "But they know we found something unusual. They're comparing our data from Thuros 7 with data from this new site. They want us there to consult." "To compare findings, what's on Helios 9? Minji asked. Deho pulled up an image on the screen. It showed a crystalline structure similar to the caverns they had explored. But in the center of the image was something that made Minji's breath catch. Another dragon. But this one was dead. Its body had been dissected, cut open, studied like a specimen in a laboratory. "They found a dragon and they killed it," Yuna said quietly. "They're treating it like a scientific curiosity. Something to analyze and exploit." Minji felt sick. This was exactly what she had feared. This was why they had hidden Velthor. Because humans, some humans at least, would not see a person when they looked at an alien dragon. They would see a resource, a puzzle to solve, a threat to eliminate. "We can't go to Helios 9, Minji said. "If we go there, they'll figure out we're hiding something. They'll search the ship. They'll find Velthor." "We don't have a choice," Deho replied. "If we refuse the assignment, corporate will get suspicious. They'll investigate. They'll find him anyway. Then we run," Hyunwoo suggested. "We change course. Head for neutral space, somewhere corporate can't follow, and give up everything." Deho shook his head. "Our careers? Our lives? We'd be fugitives, pirates, criminals." "Better than being executioners," Yuna said quietly. All eyes turned to her. She met their gazes steadily. "If we go to Helios 9, we become part of whatever they're doing. We validate it. We help them understand how to find more dragons. How to kill more dragons. I didn't sign up for that. I became a xenobiologist to study life, not to help destroy it." Minji felt pride swell in her chest. Yuna had always been the quiet one, the careful one. But now she was standing up for what was right, even when it was hard. "I agree with Yuna," Minji said. "We should run," Hyunwoo nodded. "I'm in." 3 pairs of eyes focused on Deho. The team leader stood silent, staring at the image of the dead dragon on the screen. His hands clenched and unclenched. His jaw worked as he ground his teeth together. "My whole life," Deho said slowly. "I've followed the rules, done what I was told, believed that the system worked, that corporations and governments existed to help people, not hurt them. But looking at that image, I don't know what I believe anymore." The work took 6 days. 6 long, exhausting days of moving rocks, drilling through collapsed stone and carefully extracting debris without causing another cave-in. The survey team worked in shifts using every piece of equipment they had brought. Hyunwoo operated the portable drilling rig. Yuna monitored Velthor's vital signs to make sure the excavation did not hurt him further. Deho coordinated the efforts and filed false reports to corporate headquarters. claiming the team was conducting standard geological surveys, and Minji brought water. Every day, she descended into the cavern with her carefully rationed supply and gave Velthor what he needed. The dragon never asked for much, just enough to keep his recovery steady, just enough to remind him that he was no longer alone. On the third day, Velthor could move his neck freely. The scales on his head had transformed from dull gray to brilliant purple shot through with veins of gold. His eyes glowed brighter now like twin stars instead of dying embers. When he looked at the humans working to free him, Minji saw gratitude but also something else, curiosity. The dragon was studying them as much as they were studying him. "Your species is strange," Velthor observed during one of Minji's water visits. His mental voice had become clearer, more powerful. Sometimes when he spoke, Minji could see images in her mind, memories from Velthor's long life. "You work together, but you also argue constantly. You disagree about methods, about priorities, about everything, yet you still cooperate." "How?" Minji laughed. "That's just how humans are. We're not a hive mind. We all have different thoughts and opinions, but we figure it out eventually, usually. Most species I have encountered are not like this," Velthor said. "They have either strong hierarchies where no one questions leaders, or they have perfect consensus where everyone thinks alike. Humans seem to thrive in chaos." "Maybe that's our strength," Minji suggested. She poured water into a small bowl she had brought. Velthor could drink from it more easily than having water poured directly into his mouth. "We adapt. We improvise. We make it work even when it shouldn't." "Or perhaps it is your weakness," Velthor countered. "Chaos can become destruction. Disagreement can become war. I have seen it happen to other species. They reach the stars full of hope and potential, then tear themselves apart over petty differences." "Did that happen to your people?" Velthor was quiet for a long moment. When he finally spoke, his mental voice carried deep sadness. "No, my people achieved unity. Perfect, complete unity. We eliminated disagreement. We eliminated chaos. And in doing so, we eliminated something essential. We became so focused on order and preservation that we stopped growing, stopped changing. We became guardians of the past instead of builders of the future." "Is that why you're here alone?" Minji asked gently. "Did your people leave you behind?" "They did not leave me. I volunteered. Someone had to guard what we had learned. Someone had to wait for a species worthy of receiving our knowledge. I thought it would take centuries. I was correct." Velthor's eyes focused on Minji with an intensity that made her feel exposed. "But I also thought that when the worthy species arrived, I would recognize them immediately. That they would be perfect, enlightened, beyond the flaws that plague younger civilizations. I was wrong about that. Humans are definitely not perfect," Minji agreed. "No, you are not. You are violent, greedy, short-sighted. You destroy your own planets and then search for new ones to colonize. You create weapons capable of annihilating billions and call it progress. You are everything my people feared when we first detected your radio signals reaching into space." Minji felt a chill run down her spine. "Then why are you helping us? Why tell us any of this?" "Because of you," Velthor said simply. "Because one imperfect human saw a suffering creature and chose compassion over self-preservation. Because you gave me water when you needed it yourself. That single act contained more hope than centuries of waiting for a perfect species that does not exist." On the fifth day, Velthor's wings were freed. They unfolded slowly, carefully, like ancient paper being smoothed after centuries of being crumpled. The wings were massive, spanning the entire width of the cavern. They were not made of flesh and bone like earth creatures. They were made of something that looked like crystal and energy woven together. Patterns flowed across the wing surfaces, shifting and changing like aurora lights in a night sky. Yuna watched the display with wonder, her scanner working overtime to record everything. "The wings are semi-organic," she explained to the others. "Part biological tissue, part crystalline structure, part something my scanner can't even identify. They generate their own energy field. I think he doesn't just fly, he manipulates gravity itself." "That should be impossible," Hyunwoo muttered. "Gravity manipulation requires massive amounts of energy. Nothing biological should be able to generate that much power." "Perhaps your understanding of biology is limited," Velthor suggested. His mental voice carried amusement now. "Your species has only been studying alien life for a few decades. My people have been studying it for millions of years. There is much you do not know." Much I can teach you, if you prove worthy. That word again. Worthy. It hung in the air like a challenge and a promise combined. On the 6th day, they freed Velthor completely. The last of the rocks were cleared away. The dragon's full body was revealed. He was even more magnificent than Minji had imagined, 20 meters long from nose to tail, scales that shifted colors with every movement, displaying patterns that seemed to tell stories, forelegs ending in claws that could crush stone, and those wings, those impossible wings that hummed with barely contained power. Velthor stood for the first time in 3 centuries. His legs shook, his body swayed, but he stood. The dragon tilted his head back and released a sound that was not a roar, not a cry, but something in between. The crystals in the cavern responded to the sound, resonating and amplifying it until the entire cave sang with harmonics that made Minji's bones vibrate. Freedom. Velthor's voice filled their minds. I had forgotten what it felt like. To stand, to move, to exist without constant pain. You have given me a gift beyond price. You don't owe us anything, Deho said, but his eyes were calculating. Minji could see the team leader was already thinking about what came next. But if you do want to share something with us, we're listening. Velthor's eyes narrowed. You want my knowledge. Of course you do. That is what all species want: power, technology, advantages over their competitors. That is why my people hid their greatest achievements, not to hoard them, but to protect younger species from destroying themselves with tools they are not ready to wield. So you won't share anything? Hyunwoo asked. He sounded disappointed but not surprised. I did not say that, Velthor replied. I said you must prove worthy. You have begun that process. Minji showed compassion. The rest of you showed cooperation. You worked together to free a creature who could not repay you. These are good signs. But they are only signs. I need to see more before I make my decision. What kind of test are you talking about? Yuna asked. What do we need to do? Velthor moved toward the deeper part of the cavern. His steps were slow and careful as he relearned how to walk. The humans followed, their lights illuminating the path ahead. The dragon led them to a wall that Minji had thought was solid stone. But as they approached, she saw it was something else. A door, or rather something that functioned like a door, but was made of crystal that seemed to exist in more dimensions than her eyes could properly see. Beyond this barrier is what I guard, Velthor explained. The collected knowledge of my people, millions of years of scientific discovery, technological innovation, and philosophical understanding. Star maps that show habitable worlds you have never dreamed existed. Medical techniques that could eliminate disease. Energy systems that could power your entire civilization without harming a single planet. Methods of faster-than-light travel that would make your current ships look like children's toys. The humans stared at the barrier with a mixture of awe and hunger. Minji saw the expressions on her teammates' faces change. She saw the calculations happening behind their eyes. The possibilities. The implications. The value of what lay behind that impossible door. But knowledge alone is not enough, Velthor continued. Knowledge without wisdom is dangerous. Technology without ethics is a weapon. My people learned this lesson the hard way. We created wonders and we created horrors. Both came from the same source, brilliant minds with insufficient compassion. How do we prove we have enough compassion? Minji asked. How do we show you we're ready? Velthor turned to look at her directly. You have already begun. But one act of kindness does not define a species. I need to see more. I need to understand what drives humanity, what you value, what you fear, what you dream of becoming. That could take years, Deho protested. We're supposed to leave this planet in 10 days. We can't stay here indefinitely. Then take me with you, Velthor said. The suggestion shocked all of them into silence. I am no longer trapped. I can travel. I can observe your civilization directly instead of guessing from isolated encounters. Let me come with you. Let me see your ships, your stations, your worlds. Let me meet more humans and judge for myself whether your species deserves what I can offer. The ship's alarm screamed. Red lights flashed throughout the corridors. Every sensor aboard the vessel detected the impossible, a massive life form that had appeared seemingly out of nowhere in crew quarters. Automatic defense protocols activated, bulkhead doors sealed. Emergency messages went out to corporate headquarters, to nearby ships, to anyone who could receive them. Velthor stood in the center of the chaos, utterly calm. What have you done? Minji shouted over the alarms. They'll kill you! They'll think you're attacking. Then let them try, Velthor replied. His mental voice was serene, almost amused. I have lived through the rise and fall of civilizations. I have survived 300 years of isolation and suffering. I am not afraid of your weapons. Footsteps pounded through the corridors. Minji heard her teammates running toward her quarters. She opened the door before they could break it down. Hyunwoo, Daeho, and Yuna stood in the hallway, weapons drawn, faces pale with shock. Minji, get away from it. Hyunwoo yelled. We need to contain... He stopped mid-sentence as Velthor's eyes fixed on him. The dragon's gaze was not threatening. It was penetrating, like he was reading every thought, every fear, every secret that Hyunwoo had ever hidden. I am not a threat to this crew, Velthor said. And this time his mental voice reached everyone aboard the ship. I am a passenger, a guest, an observer who has decided that observation time is over. It is time for revelation. You're insane, Daeho breathed. Corporate is already getting these alarms. Other ships are receiving distress signals. You've exposed yourself. You've exposed all of us. Yes, Velthor agreed. I have, and now you must make a choice. All of you. Not just the 4 humans standing before me, but every human who will soon learn of my existence. What will you do with the knowledge that you are not alone in the universe? That there are species older and wiser than yourselves? That there is knowledge available to you, if only you prove worthy of receiving it. This wasn't the plan, Minji protested. We were supposed to escape, find somewhere safe, figure things out slowly. Plans change, Velthor said. I have been watching your species through your information networks. I have seen how you respond to secrets. You uncover them, you exploit them, you weaponize them. Hiding would only delay the inevitable. Better to face this directly. Better to challenge humanity openly rather than hide and hope for the best. The ship's communication system crackled to life. A stern voice came through the speakers. Survey Vessel Horizon 7, this is Colonial Command. We are receiving reports of a Level 5 security breach. State your status immediately. Daeho looked at his team, then at Velthor, then back at the communication panel. He walked slowly to the console and pressed the transmit button. Colonial Command, this is Horizon 7. We have a situation. We are in no danger. Repeat, we are in no danger. But we need to speak with someone high up the chain of command. Very high up. Explain the nature of your situation, Horizon 7. Daeho glanced at Velthor one more time. The dragon nodded encouragingly. We have made first contact with an intelligent alien species. A very old, very advanced alien species. And he wants to talk to humanity's leaders. There was a long pause. Then the voice returned, sounding much less confident. Horizon 7, maintain your current position. Do not attempt to flee. Do not make any aggressive moves. A military escort is being dispatched to your location. ETA 6 hours. The communication cut off. The 4 humans stood in silence, processing what had just happened. They had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. Whatever happened next would change everything. 6 hours, Hyunwoo said quietly. We have 6 hours until the military arrives. 6 hours to figure out what we're going to say, what we're going to do. We tell them the truth, Velthor said. All of it. How Minji found me dying in the cavern. How she gave me water when she needed it herself. How all of you chose to help me instead of exploiting me. How you risked your careers and freedom to protect me from those who would treat me as a specimen instead of a person. Let humanity hear that story. Let them see what their best representatives are capable of. And what if they don't care? Yuna asked. What if they only care about what they can take from you? Your technology. Your knowledge, your body to dissect like the dragon on Helios 9. Then I will leave, Velthor replied simply. I can travel between stars on my own. I do not need your ships. I do not need your permission. But I am giving humanity a chance. One chance to prove that you can be more than your worst impulses. That you can choose wisdom over greed. Growth over exploitation. Minji sat down on her bed, suddenly exhausted. This is really happening. This is actually really happening. Yes, Velthor confirmed. And I am sorry for forcing this upon you without asking. But some decisions are too important to delay. Some moments define entire civilizations. This is one of those moments. The 6 hours passed slowly. News spread through human space faster than light itself. Every media outlet, every government, every corporation wanted information. Who found the alien? What did it look like? What did it want? Was it dangerous? Was it valuable? The survey team spent the time preparing, not preparing weapons or defenses, preparing words, preparing explanations, preparing to stand before humanity and defend their choices. When the military escort arrived, it was not a single ship. It was a fleet, 12 vessels ranging from small fighters to massive cruisers. They surrounded Horizon 7 in a defensive formation that could either protect the survey ship or destroy it, depending on how things went. Survey Vessel Horizon 7, this is Admiral Taehyun Park of the Colonial Defense Fleet. Prepare to be boarded. Do not resist. Do not attempt any hostile actions. We have authorization to use lethal force if necessary. Understood, Admiral, Taeho replied. We will cooperate fully. But please understand, our guest is peaceful. He means no harm. We only ask that you treat him with respect. That will be determined during our investigation. The boarding process was tense. Marines in full combat armor entered Horizon 7 with weapons ready. They swept through the ship, securing each section, checking for threats. When they reached Minji's quarters and saw Velthor, several of them actually stepped back in shock. The dragon was magnificent. In the confined space of the ship, he looked even more impressive than he had in the cavern. His scales caught the artificial light and transformed it into colors that seemed to come from dreams. His wings, even folded, radiated power. His eyes observed everything with an intelligence that was unmistakably sapient. Stand down, Admiral Park ordered as he entered behind his Marines. The Admiral was an older man with gray hair and a face marked by decades of military service. He looked at Velthor with a mixture of awe and caution. So you're the alien that's causing all this commotion? I am Velthor, the dragon replied, his mental voice reaching everyone present. Guardian of knowledge, observer of civilizations, and currently a guest aboard this vessel. I have asked to speak with humanity's leaders. Will you grant this request or will you attempt to imprison me? That depends, Admiral Park said carefully. Are you a threat to humanity? I am a mirror, Velthor replied. I reflect back what I see. If humanity approaches me with aggression, I will defend myself. If humanity approaches me with curiosity and respect, I will share wisdom. The choice, as always, is yours. The Admiral studied the dragon for a long moment. Then he turned to Minji and her team. I've read the preliminary reports. You found this creature on Thuro 7. You concealed its existence from corporate and government authorities. You smuggled it aboard your ship. Those are serious crimes. Crimes that could result in decades of imprisonment. We know, Minji said. She stood straight, meeting the Admiral's gaze without flinching. But we don't regret what we did. Velthor was suffering. He was dying. We helped him because it was the right thing to do. Not because we wanted rewards. Not because we wanted to profit. Just because it was right. And if I told you that your actions have caused a diplomatic crisis? That every government in human space is demanding information? That some are calling for this alien to be handed over for study and others are demanding it be destroyed as a potential threat? Then I would say humanity needs to make a choice, Minji replied. We can be the species that helps those in need, or we can be the species that exploits them. We can be explorers and friends, or we can be invaders and enemies. This moment will define us. What we do next will echo through history. Velthor's eyes glowed brighter. The young one speaks wisdom beyond her years. Admiral Park, I have observed your species for only a short time, but I have seen enough to know that humans contain multitudes. You are capable of great evil and great good, often simultaneously. I am offering you something precious, knowledge that could transform your civilization, medical advances that could eliminate suffering, energy systems that could power your worlds without destroying them, navigation techniques that could open the entire galaxy to exploration. But these gifts come with responsibility. You cannot have the benefits without the burden of using them wisely. And if we refuse? The Admiral asked. If we decide we're better off without your gifts? Then I will leave, Velthor said. I will return to my isolation and wait for another species to prove themselves worthy. But I hope that is not what happens.